I just want to congratulate you guys for what was an excellent series at DreamHack. The UKLC finals, you guys reverse swept XL. No one thought you were going to do it, but you managed to get 3 wins on the trot. You sort of put XL in the weakest mental state I've seen them all split. You basically stopped their perfect split as well, and actually continued that legacy of winning every single UKLC split for the last year and a half. So really big congratulations to both of you, especially as the new players coming on to this split.
Felt very good to reverse sweep them in that fashion, especially for the people that actually know what was going on in the chat and stuff. I believe you were one of them. Like there was a lot of banter going on. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The UK always has banter. It can't really. It's part of the. I guess the fabric of the UK scene. But I kind of want to talk to you about that series specifically because it was a very interesting series. I think a lot of people basically pegged XL as the favourites. Most people pegged XL as the slight favourites coming into it, just given that the split that they'd had. So when you guys got to game 3, what was your mentality like? How did you reset? And what were you even talking about going into game 3?
I think our mentality were pretty good for being 0-2 down. I think we took the game over game 3. We were like, let's just see what happens, and it can't be worse, you know. We're already 0-2, so we just went into the game with a good mentality still, and no one was really like down from their past games. So I think the mentality was still really good considering being 0-2 down.
Yeah, I agree, and also to add to that, I feel like personally we kind of were actually in a good spot as well mentally, like better than them, because I feel like they know that they should have lost the second game. It was a very close game, very back and forth.
Yeah.
But we did very basic mistakes that we normally would not do. So we were completely fine with losing that game because we knew, okay, they're kind of crumbling and we can actually take this.
I mean, we were kind of talking about it like during the series that like if we win one game, it will be their first loss of the splits, and you know it might be hard to handle. So that's why we went into game 3, where it's like there's still a chance to turn it around, because if they lose one game, they might not like it might be hard to deal with the loss. And I think that kind of helped us, especially considering game 2 was so close and that we showed them that we could put up a chance.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, the whole series was incredible, and honestly, some of the best League of Legends we've seen in the UK for quite some time. What was the game plan going into game 3 in terms of the way that you altered up your draft?
I think I just said that pick me Taric and I will carry this game, and that's kind of how I went into game 3, because game 2 was really close with Taric, and losing that game kind of felt really bad, you know, because it was 50-minute game. And every fight was so close, but I felt like if I got him again, I could carry. So that's why I said pick me Taric, and luckily I got him.
What was it like for you coming into that top lane role for Fnatic? You know, they've been the UK champions for so long. What kind of pressure did you feel as a player taking on that role?
Well, for me, it was a bit of a special situation. I knew Nico from post-finance Helix from the past year. If you're familiar with the German league, you would know that team. Probably. So I had connections with Nico, but besides Nico, everything else was like very unfamiliar for me. It was also the team environment was unfamiliar for me. I never had such good teammates, and I would say on paper that I was probably the weakest player from all, which I think in the end benefited me a lot because I could learn a lot, I could absorb a lot from the other teammates. So there was a lot of pressure for sure, especially in the early few weeks. I think you could tell also from my play that I got caught out quite often, I got ganked quite often, I kind of mispositioned, but I think a lot of these impurities were resolved over the next few weeks, and yeah, I'm really happy that I got this opportunity.
And bravado for you coming in, joining Matty in the bot lane, you know, a really, really talented AD carry. Had you had much experience playing with Matty before this, or was this kind of a new experience for you as well?
I mean, I played against him in solo queue and with him like a few times, you know, so and I knew that he was like one of the best ADCs out of LEC for sure. And it's kind of easy to play with him, I'd say, because he plays really standard and plays smart, which helped me a lot because he showed me a lot of stuff in both in lane and out of lane to help me improve a lot faster over the past months. Like he's for sure, I think he's the best ADC out of LEC right now. So it was really easy to get into the team and start working together, and we all worked really well together, I think.
I think some of the things that we talked about when Fnatic was struggling in the European Masters, for instance, last time round, was that maybe sometimes comms got shut down a bit. You know, sometimes you didn't talk too much in game. I know that MagiFelix is not a particularly vocal player. What has it been like this split? Has there been work on your communication in game? Do people like Felix communicate a bit more now? How has that been for you in terms of the growth needed for the communication communication side of things?
I think we worked a lot on the communication, and especially in the final, we noted like Felix took a huge step into in the final, where in game 3 and 4 and even 5 he started talking a lot and kind of dictating the entire communication, which helped us a lot. So that's a really nice improvement to see from where we started, I think.
When I joined the team, I was actually very surprised because I did not know Felix, and I always heard like these rumors from Felix, like never talking or whatever. I don't know. I think he might not talk as much as like a Perks or a Caps does, but when he speaks, it's you gotta listen. You gotta listen. Like it's very valuable information. So that's what I really appreciate about him, because that's just important. Like the comms are never cluttered from him. I don't know. I feel like we never actually had issues with communication this year. Maybe very early on, but that's very normal for a freshly formed team, more or less. So.
Actually, it's really nice to hear, because again, you mentioned that there were. I guess coming in as a player, you do often hear rumors about certain players, and I remember the last European Masters, all I was hearing was, Magi Felix shuts down when they're losing and doesn't talk. But it's actually really good to hear that actually that's not the case, and what he does provide is really insightful information. And obviously in games 3 and 4, when you really needed someone to step up and be that guy, that he was able to do that for the team. So that's amazing, and I think shows massive growth for Fnatic as well. So what are your guys' feelings about this European Masters? What do you feel about your group?
Yeah, so we have Mouse Sports, eSuba, and Energy Pot Wizards, I believe, if I'm not wrong. I think we're very confident in the group, to be honest. We have played Mouse Sports in the past. They're kind of a similar team to Excel, I would say. Like, they're very emotional. So if you can catch them off guard, it should be like a huge advantage for us. That being said, I do think Mouse Sports is probably one of the stronger seed 2s from the major regions. eSuba, we have Research and also Energy Pot Wizards. I mean, one of them is a playing team, right? And one of them is a minor region. That's how you master groups work. So we are the clear favorites in those as well. And yeah, we're pretty confident that we can get the #1 spot in it.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think versus Mouse, it's going to be like a bit 50-50, because I think both teams can surprise each other. I think there's a lot of things that can come out, but I think that we can for sure take the first seed.
It's not like the past year Masters where if you lose once, you're kind of doomed. So,
I mean, outside of your individual group, what do you think your biggest competition is in terms of the teams coming into this? I mean, are there any teams that you think are favorites?
Yeah, I do think most teams are evenly, like most seed 1s from the regions are evenly strong, more or less. I think Gamers Origin is very strong, looking very strong. Their finals looked very strong against LDLC, a clean 3-0. I also think Schalke is I mean, they won the Prime League. We have scrimmed them quite, we know them quite well. So we know that they can pop off as well. So yeah, I think those two are probably the main ones. Maybe also Giants, I believe, are also very strong.
And Bravado, what about you? What do you think about the competition outside your group?
Yeah, I think Gamers Origin, like you said, Pride, they're #1 from LFL, and probably Giants as well. I think very even year Masters. I think before it's been like one team that's like stood out from the other. But now I think it's very even between everyone, and I guess it's with the new change to Masters that's coming into this year with three teams from German League, etc. That there's a high chance that there's a lot of good teams that all can win. So I think it's going to be a really interesting year Masters.
Bravado is a support main. Have you scrimmed against LDLC? What do you make of Yellow Star? I mean, he's basically ancient now, so has he kept up? Has he still got it? Is he still a decent support to play versus?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started League, like, I always looked up to Yellow Star, and he was one of the players where I was like really looked up to, because he was really good and always consistent, being like winning 5 titles, I think, of LCS. And I think it's really interesting and nice of him to come back into playing after being coach for 1 or 2 years. I think I've played against him quite a bit, and I think he's still for sure a really good support. So it's going to be really interesting, and hopefully we can face them in year Masters.
What do you guys think the strongest region is coming into the European Masters?
I think I'd have to say the French team or the French league. I think a lot of people say Prime League, but from what I've seen and played versus, I think the French league is really strong, to be honest. And I think the French teams are gonna surprise a bit. I mean, they've done really well in the Masters before as well, so I expect them to do well in this one as well.
Like the German region is probably more stacked in terms of teams that are at a high level. Like there's a lot of teams that perform at a high level in Gamers Origin, Schalke, Maus, sometimes Ad Hoc. It used to also be SK. So in that regard, I would say the German league. But I think for the strongest teams coming out of a region, yeah, it's probably the French league in Gamers Origin.
Which player do you look up to the most in any league? Pride, do you have a player that you look up to the most?
It used to be the Shy, obviously, as a top lane main. It still kind of is, but right now there isn't really like one particular player that I'm looking up to. I'm just looking up to anyone that's good pretty much, and looking to absorb as much as I can from watching them play and like analyzing their games and reviewing their...
Yeah, for me, this year I haven't really had anyone that I've been looking at a lot when they play, but of course, like last year it was only Mickey X. I was watching him all the time and watching him play solo queue because I think he's for sure he's for sure the best support in Europe, I have to say, from playing against him myself and seeing him play. A lot of the Korean supports are also really, really insane, I think. Lehens I looked up to a lot last year as well, but right now I don't really have anyone, so I still have to go with Mickey X, I think.
The European Masters team and the LEC team train together. So do you guys train with the main LEC squad at all? Do you scrim them? Do you swap around roles to sort of gain experience?
We sometimes scrim them in the past, less now, of course, with the playoffs approaching. We don't do any role swapping or anything like that. I think it would not really benefit either team, really. But yeah, we also exchange ourselves with primarily the coaching staff, I guess, of what is currently meta, what are they currently going for, and things like that.
Yeah, I think Pride said, yeah, we just try to like we scrim them a bit from time to time, and then we like keep track of what they're doing.
And what about you, Bravado? You do anything outside of League? You got any shows that you watch or anything like that?
I wake up, I play solo queue, I play scrim, I play solo queue, and then I go to sleep, and that's about it. Maybe I go for maybe I go for a walk from time to time, but right now I just play League only.
Pride, do you have actually? I didn't ask actually. Pride, do you have a favorite champion?
Yeah, Gangplank.
Gangplank, interesting. Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know. I just. He has like this mini game with his barrels and his passive, which I just love playing, and also he has quite a high skill cap, skill ceiling, I would say, for a top lane champion. And I don't know, it's just fun to like ult people across the map, kill them, tilt them, hold waves forever, one shot some people with like triple barrels or whatever. Like there's always these scenarios where you get like a huge barrel, and it's just the most satisfying thing.